This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
(1959) saw Jack Brabham win the F1 championship in his Cooper Climax. The same year, the second iteration of the USGP was held here on the concrete slabs of the Sebring International Raceway. The event, being held on a different layout than the one before us today, was won by the famous Kiwi Bruce McLaren. The stone slabs remain. The bumps only have gotten worse, and after being the final round for 1959, Sebring once again sees itself as a key aspect of a successful championship run between our top three contenders. So join us now as we get ready to watch round 9 of the Grand Prix Legend Series live on the Global SimRacing Channel via the iRacing eSports Network. The crew to give you all these stats and storylines today will be Ryan Walker, joining myself, Stefan Schlacher. Turning the knobs and pushing the buttons behind the scenes is our director, Sean Rex Ambrose, and he's using cameras provided by the great Dougie Beard. Once an old airbase for the US Air Force and now a racetrack with extreme history in sports car racing and enjoying a huge fan base here in iRacing. Though, since we might have some new viewers tuning in, let's give you a short run around this track with our GSRC lap guide.
Welcome to Sebring International Raceway. Home to the 12 Hours of Sebring, one of the most grueling tests in endurance racing, this is a track which has earned a fearsome reputation among drivers. The circuit itself is located on the southeastern edge of the city of Sebring, Florida, and was built out of Hendricks Army Airfield shortly after World War II. 3 layouts are currently in use, ranging from 1.7 to 3.7 miles in length. The longest course, which is perhaps the most well known with it being the one used for the famed endurance race, shockingly still contains portions of the original airfield surface. It's this aspect which has become a signature feature of the track, making it extremely bumpy for racing. Sunset Bend in particular nearly shakes cars apart while they attempt to navigate the high-speed 180-degree corner. As you'd expect for the side of an airfield, there's nearly no elevation change over the course of a lap, but many of the curves are dramatically tall and unforgiving, daring drivers to glance them yet not hit them directly. Thankfully, places to pass are plentiful, including spots like the Hairpin and Cunningham. However, the many fast, sweeping turns creates a dilemma for car setup, since a vehicle that's made too stiff could wind up bottoming out on the onerous bumps. In the end, if you have the wherewithal to withstand the track's rough nature, you're likely to fare well. And since Florida fans almost always show up in huge numbers to witness this test of car and driver, you'll have plenty to impress at this legendary North American road course.
That was one quick lap around the history of the Sebring International Raceway. Ryan, how about a lap around the numbers for this track?
Some facts about this amazing track. It's famous for hosting the WeatherTech Sports Car Championship in the 12 Hours of Sebring. Also famous for hosting some SCCA series as well, and also Trans Am. But today, some little facts about the track, as I mentioned: the 3.7 miles in length, or 5.955 kilometers if you're an American or prefer to use kilometers. Has an amazing 17 turns, which is quite surprising considering how big the track is. And as Sebring is located to close to the state that is Florida.
Next up on our agenda list is, as always, the F1 Drivers' Championship, which still is being led by the UK driver Mick Clouch, 274 points to his name. And Roman Pawlowski, after dropping a few points, after getting back a few points that way around on Clouch in Indianapolis, he's now only 14 points behind, with Rob Bolanek sitting in third, 23 points behind. With the win that Michel Trevino had last week, he is now in fourth place, 87 points behind. So even though he's not running every single race this season, he most definitely has gotten quite some points out of them. And we have in fifth place Daniel Sadro, 101 points behind. Even he was able to gain some points last week out. Ryan, how are we looking for the F2 Drivers' Championship?
So yeah, in the F2 Championship at the moment, it's currently a two-horse race at the top with Bill Tyler leading with 175 points. But yeah, only 11 points behind him in second place is Antonio Rees. Andrew Eng is starting to fall back a little bit in third, but still keeping in touch but with 65 points behind. And then Andreas Bruno's behind him in fourth, and rounding at the top five and fifth with 96 points is Colin Coker.
Last but not least, as they head in the way back down in the Formula 1 Championship, we have the Nations Cup. Germany still is leading that 340 points, but because of Roman Pawlowski not being able to finish last week, the United States have gained quite some traction. They are now only 9 points behind him. United Kingdom, they're sitting in third place. Main points getter there, obviously, Mick Clouch, your points leader. They are 38 points behind. France already 151 points behind. And then we have in fifth place Portugal with 176 points. Speaking of Portugal, Antonio Rees right now, your leader here on the grid. Actually, no longer Bill Tyler took over that spot with a 159.652.
Absolutely. Some details about today's race as well.
And Olenek just went purple there. Sorry for interrupting you there. Ryan, a 158.466 for him. But we still have that one chart left to look at, Ryan. So give us a quick rundown of what our viewers can expect from this race.
So yeah, some details about the race today for anyone that's tuning into the series or has never watched before. This is round 9 of 12 so far in the season. The race line for today will be 16 laps. And as always in this series, the setup is open, so anything you want to change, camber, tyre presses, right height, anything like that, you're free to do so. And the incident limit is 17x. So if you get to 17x or go over that, you will get a penalty. And if you get to 25x, that will be an automatic disqualification from the race.
Last but not least, also a quick reminder that you're watching this broadcast on the iRacing Esports Network. Make sure to like and especially subscribe if you haven't done so yet. You'll know if you haven't, as the button below this broadcast will still be extremely bright red and extremely tempting also to hit it. So why not do it and not miss another second of great racing action here on the IESN. Meanwhile, we have a few more laps on the board. Mick Cledge is still in first place, with Michel Dedinho sitting in second and Rob Olenek in third. Rowan Paslowski just behind Rob in fourth place. Our top 3 contenders are in position 1, 3 and 4.
Us.
Mick Cledge coming around Le Mans, now entering the Allman Straight. Extremely long, extremely tight on the racing surface, but there's a lot of stuff still that you can use as racetrack on the right side if you're extremely desperate, that is. As he now enters Sunset Bend, very tight going through that, avoiding a lot of the bumps on the midsection of this turn. Let's see what he can do coming out, entering the front stretch. It's going to be a 1:57.786. That's a new pole lap for him, securing his spot by now 6/10 ahead of the Frenchman Michel Dedinho.
As Ernesto Romero is coming round to complete his qualifying lap. This will be his final lap of the session, I believe, as he comes across the line, and it will be a 2:00.4.
Also now a quick message from the Grand Prix Legends community for you, their Lotus 49 race fans, as they would kindly like to ask you for a donation into their broadcast fund. If you'd like to find out more about these donations or their broadcast fund, please have a look into the description of this broadcast. As always, every dollar counts. The Lotus 49 community thanks you, and thanks also everyone that has donated to that broadcast fund thus far. As the last few seconds of this qualifying are now running out, checkered flag is out, and that confirms Mick Cledge on the pole position for today's race, as Michel Dedinho will take to the right side of him. Rob Olenek, third place for him, Ron Paslowski fourth, so our top 3 contenders remained inside the top 2 rows. And it's Romero, a new face in this championship, fifth place for him, Bill Tyler sixth, David Rossi, the number 11 car, will line up in 7th place. He's also the first car not to get a lap under 2 minutes. Andrew Eng will line up in 8th place with Bruce Nelson 9th, and completing a top 10 of this race grid will be Antonio Rees.
Starting in 11th will be Nam Cross Jr. Starting alongside him in 12th is Dave Cohen. 13th is Mark Yeomans. 14th is Donald Peake. Colin Cooper starts in 15th. 16th will be Gary Anderson. 17th Robert Plumley. 18th will be Brennan Cleveland. 19th Trent Booz. And rounded out the top 20 is Rodney Evans.
Last car on the grid will be the number 21 of Robert Reynolds. So not a lot of people have signed up into this race, obviously because of the Bathurst 12 hours are going on as well. If you do run in those, then good luck to you and your team. Hopefully you can manage what you have planned to get. That probably is the race win, but you never know how a 12-hour race goes. We are also getting ready for the drop of the green flags. The engines should harmonize in just a few moments. We're still waiting on one more car to join. That would be Robert Plumley. taking a long time to join. Now he is in, so now we can also drop the green flag here any moment. Engines are harmonizing. Who is going to take the best start? It is going to be... Oh, Mikkelj and Michel Tonino with pretty much the same start, but behind them Rob Olenek and Roman Pawlowski have great starts. Pawlowski gets caught up though behind Michel Tonino. He's not able to challenge them, drops back quite a bit. Rob Olenek though, he's on the charge for second place, has the inside line for turn 1. That's also going to be the inside for turn 3, but decides better off it. So top 4, stay the top 4 going into turn 3 for the very first time.
Oh, this is at the back.
Seems like we had a little bit of trouble there in the background of your broadcast picture. That was all with Gary Anderson from what we have been told. Though everybody else is still continuing to run, and there's a little bit of a rupture after the top 5. Bill Tyler dropping off them a little bit. Also, Roman Pawlowski has a bad hairpin, which means he's dropping off the top 3. As they now go up to the very tricky turn 11. Collier, Lotus 49, Ryan, always known to not be very good to turn and accelerate at the same time.
Yeah, this car you've got to be very careful of. It's one of those cars that you can't really brake and turn at the same time. You've got to get the braking done in a straight line, and if you try and brake and turn at the same time, it will just spit you round. But back up at the front at the moment, it's still Mick Clary's leading from Michel Didi. Yeah, it looks like Michel Dudillon and Rob Olenek.
Yeah, the top 3 off the grid are still the top 3, and it seems like Roman Pawlowski is not able to go the early race speed that these top 3 are going, because he has already dropped off about 2.5 seconds to the back of Rob Olenek. So extreme pace right now shown by those 3, separating just after the first few turns.
Yeah, I'm very surprised at this. Already at the end of lap 1, this field is starting to spread out. But yeah, look, some people have had issues on the first lap, and I think we've got a battle going on for P5 at the moment.
Yeah, it's on the screen already. Ernesto Romero on the inside of Andrew Eng. Let's see what this is going to be. This is, by the way, for P number 7. Andrew Eng had to lose out on that battle as Ernesto Romero keeps that position. A little bit getting spread out already, so why not jump to that battle up front? Michel Tonino trying to challenge into the hairpin, but it's not working out for him. Let's have a look into turn number 10. A little bit sideways going there through the chicane. I think that's just the style of his setup, going a little bit loose to get a little bit more traction, which sounds a little bit counterproductive, but it really works in the Lotus 49. Now heading into tower, everything seems good. So Rhino, why not go to the replay of that start incident, all starting off with Gary Anderson?
Yeah, I was looking towards the back of the field into turn 1, and it just seemed to kick off, and maybe just people bunching up, and it just caused a concertina effect. But looking at the replay at the moment, looking at Gary Anderson, he seems to get through turn 1 okay, and then it seems to be into turn 2 under braking, it all kicks off, and unfortunately just got tagged from behind.
Yeah, who was that? I think that was the 11, which would have been David Rossi, if I saw this correctly. Oh, Cleveland once, that was the 15, not the 11, sorry Rossi there. Brandon Cleveland was the car that plowed into the 14, and also an innocent bystander was collected there ahead of them. Yeah, cold brakes for Cleveland. No, it's actually not Cleveland. That's a red car that is going to hit him. I think that looked like Donald Peake, actually, looking at it. Either way, few cars were involved in that. As we're once again back to the lead, which is still being held by Mikkelj. Behind him, Michel Tonino. A little bit of an interesting run through the pig bend. Goes onto the grass there a little bit. but keeps it all together. Oh, this is looking like a very good run for Michel Dudignon. Now goes a bit more to the inside, which is going to give him a better run through the left-hander, but the door is being shut by Mick. Klasch has to go to the left side. Maybe something through Collier into Tower? Let's have a look. He has the better line once again. Extremely tricky to get the power down, as already said, through Collier. However, Tower not an opportunity for Michel Dudignon this time around. They're still kind of losing Rob Olenek, but he's able to fight back again and again because of Mick Klasch having to defend from Michel Dudignon. So I feel like Dudignon and Klasch have something on the field that they were not able to really figure out.
As back in P5, we've still got a battle going on as well with Bill Tyler. It looks like Bill Tyler and Romero as well. So these two battling away, and just behind them as well is David Rossi, just sitting there, more than happy to watch what these guys are getting up to. But these two guys are still battling away for P5, and it's been a bit of a quiet battle, but great race between these two as Romero's got the run on the exit.
Yeah, that was a big mistake by Bill Tyler. You really want to keep that car on the inside through Sunset Bend, keep it away from all the bumps. Here it goes to the inside, a little bit of a look. This side's better off it though. Romero, can he get the run out of turn 1 into turn 3? No, he cannot. By the way, that left-hand kink there down the straight, that is actually counted officially as a turn. So this left-hander is actually your third corner of this layout. Well, Antonio Rees in behind had some issues, and that looks like a broken car. What happened to him?
Yep, replay's coming up right now, and yeah, that's a big factor in the F2 Championship. But looking at the replay of Antonio Reyes to see what happened, and he might have just lost it, putting the power down, and looks okay at the moment. And that looks like a heart failure.
My. That was all about the curb. That's what I would call a rookie mistake there from the veteran Antonio Rees. Just goes a little bit too much on the curb there off turn 4. Also a little bit too much power, and around she went. He's still racing, by the way. He's still in 13th place. So it seems like the suspension wasn't affected by all of that. Ahead of him, Nim Cross and Matt Yeomans. They are extremely tight together. Nim Cross, our Lord and Savior, racing in the Lotus 49. He started in 11th place with the mistake from Antonio Rees. He himself has gained that one position up inside the top 10. Let's see what Matt Yeomans can do, fighting for that top 10 position. This side's better off it. The long braking zone for the Lotus 49 into Sunset Bend because of all of the bumps and the weird angle. We have to take the entry. Nim Cross extremely wide. That gives a very good run to Matt Yeomans. Let's see if he decides to take that opportunity going into turn 1. They are side by side, and Matt Yeomans warps past Nim Cross on my screen. So Nim Cross now back in 11th place where he started. Matt Yeomans taking away that last spot inside the first 10 position. Up front, Ryan. Not much shuffling going around yet.
It's still Claridge leading from Dudignon at the moment, and they falling back a little bit, even further a little bit is Rob Olenek. But these three guys up at the front are still relatively close, and I think excuse me, I think Dudignon is looking racy a little bit, but at the same time he's looking more than happy to sit where he is.
Yeah, to me it looks a little bit that Michel thinks that he can go faster than Mick Klasch, but only in certain parts, and in those certain parts, that would be turn 10, he is really not able to get past because Mick Klasch is so good at defending that inside. Let's see what they can do down Alma Straight. Mick Klasch with a good launch out of Le Mans, so nothing is going to happen here. He's even trying to break the draft ever so slightly, doing a little bit as a snake down the straight. So also into the last turn of this track, turn 17, Sunset Bend. Nothing is going to happen for the lead.
As the battle for P11 still going at the moment with Matt Yeomans and the Nimcross, sorry.
Yeah, this is all between Nimcross, Dave Cohen and Antonio Rees. After getting past Nimcross, Matt Yeomans was able to streak away in his yellow car. So the Yellow Lightning streaks away with that 10th position, as there's a lap car on the outside. That's not actually a lap car, that's Andrew Ang. What happened to him? 8th place driver Andrew Ang seems to have made a mistake out of Sunset Bend. Let's see what happened to him on that replay. Oh, that already looked like a hard hit to the inside. Let's see, he's going through the middle of Sunset Bend. Still good, still good. Goes on to the power and just loses the rear, it seems, and can't catch it hard into the wall 2 times, 3 times. And that is broken suspension to the right.
Yeah, it looked like a case of just getting on the power too much and maybe just lost it over. Oh, he just lost it.
Yeah, I'm counting in total about 5 hits into the wall there. So that suspension most definitely has seen its best days gone. There is the damage number 12. Andrang has stepped out of it and immediately retired. Back again at the front, it's still Michel Torino versus Mikelec. And Rob Olenek still a cliffhanger to be.
Yeah, it seems to be that Mick is quicker than Dudion in some parts of the track, and then Dudion just manages to catch back up on the braking. But Rob Olenek, he's just sitting there being a watcher and just thinking to himself, or hoping that these guys get caught up with each other in front of him and he can pick up the pieces.
Oh, very wide there for Mikelec out of turn 1. You were able to see all the dust being thrown up from the onboard of Rob Olenek. That brought in Michel Torino a little bit once again, but it seems like Michel Torino just isn't getting the best runs out of the slow turns, which really is a key factor here on this track. Ryan, you need to compromise between the fast and the slow turns.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, some of these corners you've got to use the old driving style of slow in, fast out, or maybe just be very smooth as, I thought Mick was going off track there for a minute, but it's kind of, that's what I use anyway, whenever I race is slow and fast out, and it seems to work for me.
Oh, and the battle for P9 is extremely hot with Yeomans making a mistake. Antonio Rees able to take advantage of that into the hairpins. So Antonio Rees with his damaged car, he is back inside the top 10, now taking 9th place. And in behind, Cohen tries to go on Nimcross. Looks to the right, looks to the left. It's going to be the outside for turn 10. And he's able to get it. Is he also able to stop his car? Perfectly, he is. Even hits the apex and off he is ahead of Nimcross.
Is right on board with them at the moment. Just just having a decent race at the moment. Just going about his business and keeping out of trouble, and just outside the top 10.
Something happened to Roman Pawlowski now. I think. No, wait. Michel Torino crashed! What? How did we miss that? I think we have the replay of that, so let's have a look. That was while being side by side, or trying to go side by side with Mikelec. There we have the impact. It is going to happen through, or into Chenevier, I think. Let's have a look. We're coming out of tower now. That's turn 14 coming up the left-hander. That's contact and heavy into the barrier. Michel didn't immediately realize the situation and pulls off the track.
That was really unfortunate. Duduon and Mick Claridge were having a great race, and it just looks like, yeah, Mick stuck to his line, and I think it was just one of those incidents, two drivers going at it hard, and unfortunately it just ended up in contact. As still at the front at the moment, it's Mick Claridge leading from Rob Olenek and Roman Pawlowski up into third after that incident for Michel Duduon. As it looks like he might have lost Stefan for a minute, but yeah, just back up at the front of these guys as well. As I believe, yeah, Stefan's joined us again.
Well, yeah, technical difficulties there apparently. Either way, Rob Olenek very tightly knit into the championship hunt. The good thing for Michel Duduon is that he wasn't anymore into that with his 85 points behind Mick Claridge. Let's see what Rob Olenek can do, who all of a sudden has found some pace against Mick Claridge. Makes you wonder if he has damage from that contact. I don't know how it was for you. Ooh, Rob! Extremely sideways through the big bend. Most definitely pushing very hard to get past Mick Claridge. I don't know how it was for the broadcast, but on my screen at least, there was a bit of netcode between Mick and Michel.
Yeah, I was looking back at the replay myself, and it looked like it might have possibly been that, but I don't always like to use netcode in this instance, so I'll stick with my judgment of just close contact. But back up at the front, it's still Mick under attack from Rob, and I think Rob's starting to realise that he's running out of time and he's got to make a move.
Robert Plumley, the bad streak of races doesn't stop for him. The car number 7 has found himself in the walls in turn 3, and that was all his own mistake. Just through the kink of turn 2, loses the rear ever so slightly and just doesn't get it stopped. Actually looks a little bit like a hardware failure on the brake there, because he just didn't even lock his brakes. Either way, with that hard contact to the wall, Robert Plumley most definitely out of this race. So that brings up the wreck total up to a whopping 6 cars out of this 21 car field.
Yeah, still at the front as well. It's these two guys that have pulled away from the rest of the field, and just everyone else is in a bit of no man's land. I think that still got a battle going on for P10, I believe, or there was a battle anyway.
We actually go a little bit further down with P13. That's between Trent Buss and Donald Peak. Donald Peak trying to take that 13th place away from Trent. Illinois versus Ohio, the battle here is. Let's see, not a very good run for Donald onto the Ullman Straight, so nothing is going to happen into turn 17, Sunset Bend.
Yep, Donald Peak's not close enough to make a move, so yeah, these guys will stay where they are, and yeah, I can't really, looking throughout the field, Steph, I can't really see any other battles going on at the moment.
Yeah, you're pretty much right at that right now. The closest battle we have is for first place, 5/10 between those two. Then it's Donald Peak versus Buss. They're heading right now into into first turn that we're looking at. And then we also have P10, that's between Dave Cohen and Nim Cross. They're also about a second between. But we're right now looking once again at the battle for the lead. We're closing lap 10, so only 7 more laps to go.
As at the moment, it's sorry, Steph.
No, sorry, I just want to say rather 6 and a little bit.
Yeah, I was just going to say as well, it looks like Mick's managed to pull a little bit of a gap to Rob at the moment, so maybe I'm not sure if Rob's tyres are starting to go off or if he's just playing the waiting game and just waiting for maybe the final lap or the final 2 laps to try and make a move.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I wouldn't say that Rob's tires are going away. It's obviously a little bit hard to judge from the outside, but I would also say that Mick Claridge is not feeling any damage, / he never got any damage from that netcode, because his times are still as good as they always were. Fastest lap in the race actually belongs right now to Rob Olenek, I think. Maybe... No, Rob Olenek is right now your fastest car. His 57.816 is actually 2 times faster than the fastest lap of Mick Claridge, which was just a 58.0.
So these 2 guys are still close together on pace, and riding on board with Rob at the moment. It seems to be at Mick's seems to have the upper hand in this final sector with these final few corners as well, that he seems to be able to just stretch out a little bit.
Great camera work as always by Dougie Beard. I don't want to know how he is testing the camera positions on these cars. Rob Olenek losing a little bit out there through the tower, so he is once again a bit back. But that's just how punishing Sebring is. You miss a corner just a little bit on the apex and you're already losing 2 to 3 tenths because of the long straight that is coming up. Going back once again to the battle for 13th, that's still between Buzz and Peak. Peak got closer once again after his mistake that separated Buzz and Peak, and Buzz makes a mistake. Peak makes a mistake because of that, but he's able to keep it much better together. Maybe even goes onto the attack into tower. No decides better of it, so turn 13 is not going to bring a decider between those two, but a very bad run once again through turn 4 Trent. That might open up the gap for Peak going into the Allman straight. He just has to get Le Mans right once, and he is going to go past him.
Sorry, go ahead, Steph.
Let's see how well Peak is doing this one. Nope, and that's once again not a very good run for Peak through that turn. So he's not going to be able to do anything into turn 17.
Yeah, I was just going to say as well that, you mentioned hitting some of these corners. It's sometimes, especially this final corner with the bumps, it's so hard to get the line right. It's just because you're going over the bumps and turning at the same time, it makes it so difficult. But if you nail it in the final corner and get a good exit, you can get a good run on someone. And it's one of those corners that I try to carry as much speed into as possible to try and get the best exit.
As those two are heading now through turn 4, our leaders are going into Sunset Bend. That just shows you how much faster these guys are and shows how much of a skill gap Sebring creates. Rob Olenek still on the hunt off the back of Mick Claridge, and the interesting thing here is they're starting to get up close to traffic, which is in the form of Rodney Evans, Red Lotus 49. Let's see how Rodney is going to handle that situation once they come up to him, which probably will happen before the hairpin. As last lap, Mick Claridge did lose about 3/10 on Rob Olenek. Look at that, Rodney Evans seized the opportunity to let those two pass safely, and extremely safely does do that. So these two can still battle unhindered, as once again a little bit of an interesting line there for Mick Claridge, but it seems like that is an extremely fast one as he streaks away out of the hairpin.
Yeah, he seems to get a great exit with that line into the hairpin. It seems to be he seems to be able to pull. As it looks like, yeah, Donald Peaks managed to get by the Bussy as well for P13, and I think we've got a replay coming up now.
Now let's see how that one happened. Seems like Bus is... Oh my goodness! Trent Bus hit the grass there, going up to turn 14. That's a little bit of... yeah, sleeping while driving there, but it's a great save by Trent. He even did... yeah, weird out Donald Peak there a little bit with him going extremely wide through that double left-hander. But both of them keep it together, and Donald Peak in all of that took away that 13th place from Trent Bus. Starting lap number 14, our two race leaders. They are, by the way, 15.5 seconds ahead of Roman Pawlowski. With only 3 more laps to go, the question opens up itself, Ryan. What can Rob Olenek do?
I'm not sure if he can do anything at the moment. Mick's putting up a great defensive drive at the moment. He's managing to maintain that gap a little bit, but looking now, Rob Olenek is closing right up. He's got a run on him up into the hairpin, and he might be able to close under braking, but yeah, Mick's using the same line again, and he's got a great exit.
Yeah, it's... The other question is, can you push Mick Clerch into a mistake? Sebring itself, it's quite easy to make mistakes. I think you also know that from experience, Ryan. I think all of us do here. But Mick Clerch is extremely steady, even under pressure. We have seen him make mistakes, but that's more when you're going side by side for a couple of turns on an extremely tricky track, which you can't really do here at Sebring, as Mick Clerch, a little bit of a mistake now as we speak about it. So a little bit of a commentator curse there on him. But yeah, I guess the only thing you can do if you're Rob Olenek, try to put him under pressure and see what happens.
Yeah, I've been under pressure around this track before a few times, and I've made a few mistakes. But always, Mick gets a bit sketchy on the braking into the final corner at Sunset Bend, but manages to hold on. And yeah, it looks like Rob Olenek might have a run on him.
Sadly, though, he was a little bit too eager on the throttle and thus had too many slides out of turn 17. So no run on Mick there whatsoever. 2 laps to go. Rob Olenek, just 34 turns to go. Now it's just 32 turns that he can make a move on Mick Clerch. Oh, that's a make on the press, and that's the wall. Rob Olenek buries all his hopes and dreams of a championship run in the wall.
Yeah, I've got a replay coming up now to see what happened to Rob, and he might have just lost it on the grass, but having a closer look now, it looks like he just lost it on the curb.
Yeah, that's pretty much a replay of what we saw from Antonio Rees, but with way bigger consequences for Olenek than for Rees. Rees only stuffed it front first into the barrier, but Rob tried to chase that one and completely messed up his entry into the barrier. He's lucky to not have any wheel damage from that whatsoever.
Yeah, I'm amazed that he's not got anything like body damage or like more body damage or suspension damage. That was a hard hit into the wall, but he's still managing to keep going, and he's still in second place, amazingly.
Roman Pawlowski, though, because they had such a big run, a gap on him, he's nowhere close to Rob Olenek. Still about 8 seconds between those two as Mick Clerch heads into turn 17 for the penultimate time. 1 more lap to go, and he probably will be crowned the winner of this race. if nothing happens. Robert Reynolds, now a new car that is going to go one lap down as Leclerc is running up to him through turn 1. Makes beautifully space there on the inside. He's not holding up Leclerc whatsoever. Rob Olenek also now going through turn 1. You can see that he had some damage on his right side with a lot of understeer going through that first turn. However, I'm pretty sure that he will keep it ahead of Roman Pawlowski, who is now going into turn 3. Still about 7.3 seconds between those two. Roman himself, he doesn't have too much of a gap back to Ernesto Romero. It's still a comfortable 4-second gap, but if something happens like it happened to Rob Olenek, Roman Pawlowski will be much more under pressure than Rob. Your top 4 are right now separated by 22 seconds between Romero and back up to the front Leclerc. Last car inside the top 5 right now leading on this last lap. That is Bill Tyler on the camera right now. 35 seconds behind your leader of Leclerc, who is heading right now through Le Mans. Heading now the almost straight. He can open his DRS if he wants to. Don't think that will make too much of a difference on this Lotus 49. Heads into Sunset Bend for the last time. A little bit late on the brakes there. Takes a little bit of a show run through Sunset. Lets his rear hang loose out of it. And he is once again your winner for the Grand Prix Legends Series. This time it's round 8 from Sebring International Raceway. Second place will go to Rob Olenek, as pretty much expected after his crash, and Roman Pawlowski will take home a 3rd place finish. Ernesto Romero is gonna come over the start finish line now in 4th place, ahead of Bill Tyler, who is now making his way into Sunset Bend. As Bill Tyler goes over the start finish line, Donald Peak and Trent de Bus, 13th place isn't decided yet. I would say that it is about a second between those two, but we might see something happen if Donald Peak makes a small slip up in one of those last turns, which he does kind of through Tower, but not enough for Trent Bus to close that gap. 1.3 seconds it has grown up to now. Let's see how they are taking Jean de Bien. Both very gingerly on the throttle through this right, left, right. Le Mans now, very important turn. Let's see if Bus can do something here onto Allman Straight. He is having a better run, but Donald Peak is seeming to have this gap under control. Let's see how he has Sunset Bend. Also has this very nice and easily under control, but not Trent Bus, who is trying to make him attempt there on the brakes. Goes extremely wide. That obviously gives him a better run out of Sunset, but not enough, as that line closes up too fast, and Trent Bus is going to finish in 14th behind Donald Peak. So with that, the racing might be over here in Florida, but the show is far from done. We're going to step aside for just a few moments to take a breather, but we will be quickly back for the post-race show, where we will run you down the unofficial finishing order, talk to some of the drivers, and close off an eventful race. So don't step away too far, as GSRC will be back after these messages. We welcome you all back to the Grand Prix Legends post-race show streaming to your home on the Global SimRacing Channel via the iRacing eSports Network. And what a race we have witnessed here today at Sebring International Raceway. Mick Ledge leads it from drop off the green flag to the checkered flag, first to first, 31 minutes and 40 seconds it took him to finish 11 seconds ahead of Rob Olenek. Roman Pawlowski finished in third place with Ernesto Romero in a respectable fourth place. Bill Tyler, fifth place for him with David Rossi finishing in sixth. Bruce Nelson gains 2 positions to land in seventh with Antonio Rees after early lap troubles. He was able to climb his way back into eighth. Matt Humans, 4 positions gained for him to find in ninth, and Dave Cohen rounds out your top 10 of today's race.
Finishing in 11th was Nimcross Jr., 12th place was Colin Cooper, just behind him in 13th was Donald Peake, 14th was Trent Boos, 1 lap behind, and 15th was Rodney Evans, 2 laps behind, and 16th was Robert Reynolds. Andrew M finished in 17th, 18th was Robert Plumley, and the rest of the pack was either too far back or retired from the race.
Yeah, leading that pack is Michel Tenino, 10 laps down. That's really gonna hurt all of his hopes and dreams for a good run in this last part of the championship. Talking to us now is your championship leader who was able to extend his gap over Rob Olenek and Roman Pawlowski. Mick, easy rollings, right?
Oh man, it was a tough race. It was, yeah, Steph. It was a bit annoying, to be honest with you. First of all, I can't believe I got pole position as much as I did. Michelle was faster in every single cold session we had. And I think that was the first session we had at 96 degrees. We was in pre-race practice and I was like about a second ahead, and I thought, hold on a minute, what's going on here? And he'd only run a couple of laps, so I thought maybe just a little warm-up and that's it, and he's gone off for a break or something, And then qualifying came and I got pole and I couldn't believe it. And he even said to me in the a PM just before the race started, he said, I'm a bit worried, I said, how did that happen? And then it was annoying because that incident between us was sort of like all 3 of ours faults, and I'm talking me, Michelle, and iRacing, because we were side by side there, and it was somewhere where I've not been side by side with anyone anywhere, in any car, and so I was tight going into that left-hander, the fast left-hander. So I did leave a little bit too much room there. I could have gone in a bit tighter there. I normally do run in a bit tighter there. He lost the back end slightly, and there was netcode as well, so it was just so annoying. And then I don't even know what happened to Rob. I was looking at Rob in my mirror, and he was chasing me down and catching me, and then all of a sudden he was gone, so I have no idea what happened to him.
Yeah, it seemed like Rob used up his tires a little bit as he really started to slide all over the place then, and then he also made that last lap mistake. Either way though, Mick, Sebring, it's a different challenge for the Lotus 49, especially after coming from Indy Oval.
Yeah, it's really, really tough. It's one of the toughest tracks to get the car set up for. And Michelle used a really, I'd say, unorthodox set. He was running -2 camber on the back. And like I said, in the cold sessions, he was unstoppable. You just could not keep up. He was a good 3/4 of a second a lap faster than anyone in the cold sessions. Yeah, Sebring, it's so tough because of the bumps. You must have touched on bumps in the broadcast there. It is just unbelievable. This car's got no grip when it lifts up off the ground, over these little tiny bumps. So, I was short shifting round, I'd say 3/4 of the lap, coming out the slow right-hander, under the bridge and the little hairpin. There was no way I was going to get up to 9,500. I was 8,000 at best, going up a gear, 8,000, and then even 7,000 into fifth. So it really is tough. It's just a real game of keeping on, throttle control and stuff like that. But I just wanted to say, yeah, it was the other thing that was annoying me is, me and Michelle and Rob as well, we've not had a decent battle in this car. I don't think the 3 of us have had a decent battle in this car yet. Something's always gone wrong like it did today. So, that's what really annoyed me the most. It was on the cards today to have a race from the start to the end, the 3 of us. So, yeah, it's a real shame.
Well, we're ending off that interview with breaking news because, guys, if you haven't realized it yet, a car most definitely loses traction if its driven tires are off the ground. Mick, thank you very much for that interview, and yeah, good luck in Olten.
Yeah, cheers, Steph. Yeah, cheers, guys. And good luck to the guys running the Bathurst 12 today.
Yeah, once again, also from us, good luck. Sadly, my car is already out of the race. Next up, it's Ryan Walker talking to Antonio Rees.
Yeah, Antonio finishing inside the top 10 with a P8 finish, and yeah, you had a little incident, Antonio. What happened there?
Good night, everyone. Greetings, everybody. Well, I don't really know. I was on the practice trying to figure it out, whatever the car behavior, unexpected kind of behavior, and I try all of them, but I never crash on that turn. I don't know. It was very strange.
Yeah, it was confusing us as well a little bit. But we looked back at the replay and it looked like you might have lost it on the curb possibly. But apart from that, how was the race for you? Was it were you expected to finish, or did you want to finish higher up in the field?
I think everyone wants to finish higher, better they can. But yeah, me too. But I was it's like a nightmare, as Mick said, and I was using Michel Doudignon setup. So wow, was kind of a very disappointing for me. I was not expecting anything, but anyway, could still finish in 8th place, and I think keeping the 2nd place on the 2nd group, probably.
Just let me have a quick look at the standings. Yeah, you will still be second in the F2 Championship. So that's it's not too bad, I guess. But looking forward to next week. Are you looking forward to next week's track?
Yeah. Yeah, sure. I'm waiting. Well, we will see. It's always, kind of a big interrogation.
Well, thanks for joining us in the booth, Antonio. Great result again, even though it's not where you wanted to finish, but it helps in the F2 Championship.
Week.
We look forward to seeing you next week.
Okay, guys, see you.
Sadly, with that interview, nobody else wanted to come up to our booth this time around. So with that, GSRC would like to thank once again the iRacing Esports Network for having us on their talent lineup to bring you the greatest shows on iRacing into your home. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so yet. On top of that, we'd like to thank everyone on the track today for a great show, and especially the Lotus 49 community for contracting with GSRC to broadcast it. Right now on your screen, you can see all of the upcoming companies that provide us with their great hardware and software GSRC uses to deliver you the best possible show. Additional thanks goes to June Lalonde, who provides us with her great masterpieces. See the screen for how to get a hold of more of her great work. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, please visit us at globalsimracingchannel.com. You can also find us on the social media platforms, Twitter with the GSR channel, Facebook at facebook.com/Global SimRacing Channel, or on Instagram at GSRC_brand. All of the upcoming races for our other series are now sliding across your screen. To check them out and mark them down on your calendar to not miss another second of exciting racing action. Finally, on behalf of the entire crew, Ryan, Sean, and Dougie, I'd like to thank you all for tuning in as Mick Ledge took away the victory here in Sebring. With that said, until next time, servus and sayonara! And as always, race hard, race clean, and we'll see you on the track.